So Donald Trump is trying to overthrow Venezuela again. It's the same basic regime change script every time. First, the United States places heavy sanctions on a target nation as a means to cause economic hardship among their people in order to foment civil unrest. The CIA then funds an opposition group that's friendly to U.S. financial interests. By providing weapons and money, they facilitate the violent overthrow of the targeted government in order to install a U.S. puppet that will hand all their natural resources over to the economic hitmen in the United States. Now the U.S. wants to start a war with Venezuela in order to destabilize their country even further. They claim to be fighting drug traffickers, but they use that term the same way they use terrorists in 9/11. They mean everyone and anyone could be a target. Our government realized the bringing democracy to Venezuela approach didn't work, so now they're trying the drug trafficking fear-mongering angle. I'm not falling for it. It's interesting that the US government offered $50 million for information leading to Nicolas Maduro's arrest and conviction on drug trafficking charges. That means they don't even have the charges yet. They don't have enough information to convict, so they're just gonna blow stuff up instead. When Donald Trump posted the video showing the U.S. strike on a boat off the coast of Venezuela, they claimed that vessel was carrying drugs and was operated by the Tren de Aragua gang, but they presented no proof for any of this. They expect us to just take their word for it, after they've lied to us about getting into so many wars before now. It sounds like they're trying to justify a war to usher in regime change. According to an assessment by U.S. intelligence agencies, Marco Rubio said that boat was headed to Trinidad. Trinidad. That's located in the Caribbean. It's an island just off the coast of Venezuela. Okay, hypothetically speaking, even if there were a small amount of drugs on the boat, which there's no proof of, is the US in the business of patrolling international seas for small-time drug runners now? There's no rational reason for us to be there. That is for Venezuelans to handle, not us. According to the US Constitution, Congress has to vote to go to war. There's no exception permitting unilateral action for drugs. When people are suspected to be drug dealers, there should be due process. It's wrong to summarily execute people without presenting evidence to the public. There are a lot of dangerous people in American cities, but we don't just go in and kill them. Describing people as narco-terrorists does not suddenly transform them into lawful military targets. There are trials. They get legal representation. If you think someone is shipping narcotics, there's a proper way to handle that. You don't just kill them without a trial. Off the coast of Miami, the Coast Guard reports that 27% of the boats they stop have no drugs on board. So 27% of the time, the suspicion is totally wrong. That's why we don't blow up boats based on suspicion alone. You don't just massacre people, you present evidence and convict them. In another strike on a different vessel off the coast of Venezuela, 2 people survived. According to our government, they're dangerous narco-terrorists that need to be stopped by any means. So you'd think our military went to great lengths to capture and prosecute them, right? No. Our government turned them over to Ecuador, who refused to prosecute, because there was no evidence. Because they're not narco-terrorists, and if they went to trial, then it would come out that our government is lying. That's why they let them go. When a U.S. agency catches a real cartel guy, they blast it in the media. They make movies about it. We don't even know the names of any of these people being killed. Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was charged for crimes against humanity by the International Criminal Court for doing this exact thing. He was accused of being criminally responsible for dozens of murders that took place as part of a so-called war on drugs, during which thousands of small-time drug dealers, users, and others were killed without a trial. This is the same thing Trump is doing. Not just that, they're also bombing Iran. They're bombing Yemen. They're funding a genocide in Gaza. They're in bed with Al-Qaeda in Syria. They're giving away billions while Americans are getting in food lines because of a government shutdown. Trump should be put on trial at the ICC too in that case. But that won't happen because the US has the most powerful military in the world, and that's why they're overthrowing Venezuela. Trump didn't even cut the money that Doge found. It's just going to go to the Pentagon instead. They didn't return it to us. They didn't give it to families, they didn't give it to disaster victims, didn't give it to people bankrupted by healthcare or student loans. They didn't do anything for us. Our tax dollars are going to weapons manufacturers. An extra $200 billion to a Pentagon that can't even pass an audit. Billions to Argentina, billions to Israel, billions to Ukraine, who all have free healthcare, by the way. You pay to subsidize it. There's really no rational excuse for our government's ineffectiveness. We have been living under mass surveillance since 9/11. They've got drones, satellites, cell phones, AI, but somehow, oh, we just can't stop these crimes. Oh, please, give me a break. They could stop it if they wanted to. This isn't about cocaine or fentanyl or heroin. This is about oil. This is about valuable resources. Our government will not save you from drug trafficking. Did you know the CIA directed its top asset in Venezuela to ship tons of cocaine into US cities? That asset was the leader of the cartels of the Suns. The United States CIA used the military in Venezuela to get Colombian cocaine distributed in the United States, and all the profit from that went back to the Colombian cartels. Do you know how many countries in the region the US has helped overthrow, just in Latin America alone? Here's a list: Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, Venezuela, Grenada, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba. To be clear, this isn't support for the current Venezuelan politicians. No doubt that corruption exists, but that's for the Venezuelan people to figure out. It's not for the US to be meddling in. The history of US regime change has been disastrous. It's brought suffering to millions of people and bankrupted our country. The US needs to stay out of there and let them determine their own future. We don't want other countries choosing our leaders, so we shouldn't be choosing theirs. Thanks for listening. This is Estella Jordan.